Hey, my melanin beauties, and welcome back to the channel. So today's episode is going to be a part of the Soft Life Diaries, and I just want to talk about what I did today. So I am sitting down and I just had my housekeepers leave. Yes, I have housekeepers, and I wanted to talk about that. I've had housekeepers for several years now, and it is by far the best investment I have ever made in myself, okay? Some people might consider it being quote unquote lazy, but I'm all about convenience and preserving my energy, okay? I think better when I'm in a clean space. I feel more positive when I'm in a clean space. I feel more productive when I'm in a clean space. And I just feel like I live a soft life when I'm in a clean space. Now, I did not always have housekeepers. There were years prior to this where I used to clean up my own house and it never got cleaned, okay? I don't thrive when I clean, okay? Cleaning is not therapeutic to me. Some people love to clean. They find it peaceful and fulfilling. Yeah, no, I'm not that girl. Okay, I am not that girl. Cleaning is a headache. It stresses me out because it's like when I start, then it's like, oh, well, I still got to clean this and I still got to clean this. And I get so overwhelmed and then I just don't do anything. Now, there's a big difference between being cluttered and being dirty. I was always cluttered, okay? But now that I have the privilege of being able to have housekeepers in my house and clean, it is by far the best investment I've made in myself. It just feels amazing. And I have my housekeepers come once a week. I have a 2-bedroom apartment and it's about 1,200-ish square feet, something like that. And it takes them about an hour. And so I'll just work on editing content while they clean. I have the same housekeepers come every single week. So it's so peaceful and it's soft life for me. And some people, we might be like, oh my God, I could never afford that. But everybody prioritizes what they want to prioritize. Like some people love going out to eat. Like that's their thing. Okay. I don't go out to eat anymore like that. So I will gladly skip Chipotle and skip Kava and skip these fast food places so that I can have money each week to pay for housekeepers. And also, since I've been working for myself, I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for 6 years. I spend most of my time at home. I spend most of my time at home. I would say on average, I rarely leave the house. Like I go to the gym, okay? I'll walk around my neighborhood. I'll walk up and down, I'll walk to different plazas and stuff. I'm very active. So I do get in about 20K steps a day on average. So I do walk around, but I don't have much of a quote unquote social life these days. And that's something else I wanted to talk about too, is just how, I guess, isolated I've become these past few years. Some of it was because, I was locked in and just trying to grow my social media presence and pushing out all this content on these different platforms. But some of it came from being hurt by others. And one thing that I stress on, even on my other YouTube channels, is we don't do a woe is me attitude, okay? We are not victims on any of my platforms, but I do share things because I want to try to help people who might be experiencing the same things that I have experienced, and then also what I've learned from those experiences. When I started my business 6 years ago, I had friends. I had a lot of, well, not a lot. Okay. I'm going to use the term friends loosely. Okay. We're going to put air quotes over the word friends because reflecting back, they were never my friends. But in those moments, I thought that they were my friends. And, people kind of grow apart. I'm not going to sit here and say it was all their fault. It was mine too. I had a lot of unhealed trauma. And so, before I started my business, before I worked on myself and leveled up, I found myself trying to make friends with people who were not necessarily the best people to be friends with because I needed validation. I used to need people to like me. I used to be a people pleaser. And so I just struggled a lot with that. I would overextend, right? And so I would find myself in friendship dynamics where I'm always giving and people are always taking, but I have no boundaries. So that's still my fault because I didn't know how to tell people no. I didn't know how to pull back energy when it wasn't being reciprocated because I was trying to chase validation and acceptance, right? And over the years of healing, I recognized that that's not okay. You don't have to earn friendships. You don't have to perform. You don't have to prove yourself, right? People, the right people, the people who are aligned with you or aligned for you, I should say, they will accept you as is without you having to do a whole bunch of things and jump through hoops, right? So I learned that on my healing journey. So since healing and working on myself, I've just kind of been more isolated, right? I don't really go out much. And I've always been introverted, by the way. I've never was an extroverted person, but I don't really go out much. When I go to the gym, I speak when spoken to. And so I've just found myself spending a lot of time at home these past few years. And there's pros and cons. The pros is you get a lot more stuff done when you spend time by yourself, when you lock in, and I'm a very ambitious woman, when you lock in the amount of shit that you can get done when you don't have people texting you, calling you, asking you to do this for them, take them here, can they borrow this? Girl, the amount of shit you can get done when you just lock in and isolate. Like, I have gotten so much accomplished these past few years by just being by myself. I have gained so much peace and clarity and confidence. Oh my gosh, I lost 100 pounds. My business is 6 figures. Like, I am just really on my shit. Like, I am truly my best self. The version of me 10 years ago would have never thought I'd be here today. Like, I'm in my dream apartment. Like, I drive my dream car. Like, I'm just living life and I'm peaceful, right? There's no toxicity. And so those are the pros of kind of isolating, right? But as humans, we do crave connection. You know, I think it's normal to want to have friends. It's normal to want to go out. It's normal to interact with people, right? That is normal. There's nothing wrong with you. It doesn't mean you have a void. Like, that's normal human behavior. But I have yet to find my tribe, in a sense. And it could be me. You know, like I said, I've been hurt before by people. And so I think sometimes I may have this wall up. You know, I'll let people close, but not too close. I'll share a little, but not too much, right? I kind of am a little more guarded. And so I don't have a tribe of women in my life right now. I don't have people texting me, asking me, hey, let's go out, let's go do this, whatever. And I'm working on that. I am working on that. I'm trying my best. Could I do more? Yes. As I reflect, yes, there's definitely more I could do, but I am trying. I am putting one foot in front of the other and just kind of opening myself up to new connections. You know, I have acquaintances, people that I've met at the gym, you know, when I see them, I speak, but it's not anything deep. It's not anything like, oh, let's tell each other our secrets or anything like that, right? And I'm working on that. And so I think a con to kind of isolating yourself is you do start to miss connections with people. But it comes and goes. It comes and goes. And so things that I do to kind of fill that quote unquote emptiness, even though I don't really feel like it's emptiness, I think it's a little dramatic, but you get the point. Things that I do to kind of fill that is, so I'll go to an actual gym. So I live in an apartment complex and I work out first thing in the morning. I get up early. I'm an early bird. So I'm lifting around 4 a.m. And so the gym in my apartment complex, it has most of the things I need. It has free weights all the way up to 50 pounds. It has a Smith machine. It has the lat pull down machine. It has a set of cables. It has leg extensions, and it has chest press. So it has some cardio equipment. So like ellipticals, Stairmasters, treadmills. So it has what you need. If you're a workout girly, you know those are the essentials, right? As long as you got some free weights, you can knock out a great workout, full body. But I have made effort to go to a public gym. And I used to go to a public gym all the time. But these past I think 8 months now, I've been working out downstairs, but I noticed, okay, I've really become a hermit. I need to pull myself out of that slowly but surely. So I decided to start walking to the gym. It's only like a mile from my house. And I forced myself to be in a public gym so that I'm around people. And I was actually talking to ChatGPT about this. If you don't talk to ChatGPT, you should. It gives you some ideas. ChatGPT had actually suggested to me that when I go to the public gym, to go around the same time on the same day. So I chose Wednesdays at 10 a.m. That's my time. And it's just one day a week right now. I'll up it to 2, but I forced myself to go on Wednesdays around 10 a.m. So you start to see the same faces, right? As people start to see you regularly, they start approaching you and talking to you. And this is actually what happened the other day. So I went, and this girl, she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, I've seen you around. What's your name?" And I said, "Oh, my name is Jasmine." And she said her name was Kelsey. And then she was like, "Yeah, what are you working on today?" So it was cool to like have some interaction. And she was so friendly. And she was like, "Well, I'll be seeing you around." So chat was right. Chat was right. Same time, same day of the week. Kind of put yourself out there and you start to attract good energy because you have good energy, right? Like I said, I used to be closed off. I'm not going to lie. I used to be kind of guarded, but I've healed. I'm working on myself. I am open to new connections. I'm not necessarily looking for best friends. I am not necessarily looking for somebody to share my darkest secrets with, right? But I am looking for connections. So I am open to that. And that is something that I kind of have to force myself to do just because I'm such an introverted person. But I do think that being around people who are aligned, who share kind of the same beliefs. So like I'm big on fitness. That's just my thing these past few years. I love being active. So putting myself in environments where I'm around other active people, right? I was actually thinking about trying Pilates. I've been seeing it on social. I've never done Pilates before. I'm a weightlifting girly. And there's actually a Pilates studio that I pass on my afternoon walks. And I was like, it'd be really cool to walk over, do a Pilates session. They're about 50 minutes and then proceed with my walk. So I'm thinking about incorporating that, just putting myself in spaces with people, with women who do the same things I do, right? I think we'll be able to connect a little bit more. Maybe you're really into arts and crafts, like going and doing something artsy with other artsy people, whether you sign up for some type of sewing class or knitting class or a painting class. I looked up pottery classes and stuff, just trying different things to get yourself around people who share the same interests as you. And you do have to ask yourself, if you struggle with making friends or putting yourself out there, what kind of relationships do you want to build? You got to really ask yourself that. Like, are you looking for deep connections? Are you looking for someone just kind of hang out with every so often? Are you looking for someone to text or FaceTime with all the time? Like, you have to ask yourself that. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's truly what you want for your life. But you do have to ask yourself that. And you also have to ask yourself, well, what kind of person do you want your friends to be? And I used to kind of be picky. So when I started my entrepreneurship journey, I was like, I want to be friends with other women who are business owners. And when I was in counseling, I was telling my counselor that. And she was like, well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be around other business owners, like-minded people. But I think what you're really searching for is just people who love what they do. People who aspire to climb the ladder in their career, whatever that ladder is. And I was like, yeah, I never thought about it like that. They don't have to necessarily be entrepreneurs. Maybe she's a lawyer and she's trying to make partner. Maybe she's a doctor and she's trying to, become chief doctor. I don't know. Maybe she's a nurse and she's trying to become nurse manager, right? Somebody who is serious about their career and getting to the next level. And I never thought about it like that. being around people who are not miserable with whatever it is that they do for a living, right? They don't necessarily have to be entrepreneurs. And so that's what I'm saying. I used to be kind of picky, like, oh, well, she's not a business owner, so I don't think we would be friends. I don't think we would be good friends because of X, Y, Z. I don't think she would be able to understand me. But that's not true. I think something else that I struggled with in previous friendship dynamics was I was dealing with women who were not necessarily happy with their life. They were miserable people. And I used to be miserable too. So birds of a feather flock together, right? I used to be insecure. They were insecure. I used to not like to be by myself. They didn't like to be by themselves. So it worked, right? Until it didn't. Until I started leveling up, until I started getting out of my comfort zone and working on a business and creating a vision for myself and putting all of my energy into it. Then it no longer aligned. And then that's where the chaos started, right? That's where there was this misalignment. But now I know what I'm looking for. I see things in people when I talk to them and try to get close to them. I'm like, okay, well, it's one thing to be content at your job. It's another thing to be miserable at your job. I used to be miserable at my job. And I remember how I used to act because I was so miserable at that job, right? So I don't really want those type of connections, but I do want connections with people who love what they do, or at least they're content with it. They're not dreading it. They're like, oh, here we go. I gotta do this shit, right? Because the energy is different. Right? The way they see the world is different. The way they view themselves is different because they wake up, at least most days, loving what they do, right? You may have a day or two where you're just kind of like, oh, fuck this shit, right? But for the most part, they enjoy what they do. And your career, your business, whatever it is, you spend a lot of time doing that. So if you are working at a job that you hate for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, you spend a lot of time in an environment that you're not happy in. And so that's definitely going to bleed into other aspects of your life, right? So, I think a big part of living the soft life is making sure that you're around people who are aligned and also preserving your peace. Things that bring you peace, you need to prioritize. So having a clean space, I prioritize that because I really believe that your internal world reflects your external world. So if you have chaos going on internally, 9 times out of 10, your house is chaotic. Your car is chaotic. Your finances are chaotic. Your love life is chaotic. Everything is just full of chaos, right? Because that's what you have going on in your mindset. But when your mindset is at peace, right? You're not stressing. You're not anxious. You're not insecure. It shows in your life, right? Now you want to keep your space clean because your mind is clean. Now you want to keep your car clean. Now you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You're getting your steps in, you're active, right? You're working on your business or whatever goals you have for yourself because you feel at peace. You're not overwhelmed. You're not in survival mode. You know what I mean? I used to live in survival mode. Oh my God. It's crazy. Everything is a panic. Everything's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh God. Got to rob Patrice to pay Paula. Like, it's just chaos. Oh my God. Like the smallest thing would happen and I would act like the entire world was coming to an end. But that's because I was in a survival mindset. And I lived in a survival household. Like I came from a single parent household. My mom worked around the clock to make sure that me and my brother had everything we needed. So it was just a lot of survival going on in my life. And it showed by the company I kept, the way I presented myself to the world. Like I told you guys in a previous video, I never used to do anything for myself. I never made sure I got my hair done. I never got my nails done. This is in my adult life. I never really cared about my weight or the foods I was eating, or if I tried to diet, it wouldn't last long. It might have lasted about 2 weeks and I would go right back to fast food and being a couch potato. And, I just never cared about how I presented myself. But now it's a totally different energy, and it shows. Like, I prioritize housekeepers. My house has to be clean because I feel clean mentally, right? I prioritize getting my hair done, keeping my hair in protective styles, but I also prioritize taking care of my hair. My hair is natural, but it is heat trained, so I can't do a fro anymore. I see 4C fros all the time, and they're so beautiful. And I'm like, gosh, I would love to just chop off my heat trained hair and rock a fro. But I know for a fact I'm not going to take care of it. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to be detangling nothing. So it's just like, okay, you know what? Let's just stick with what works. We go to the Dominicans, let them blow it out. And it just is what it is, right? There's no fro in my life right now, unfortunately. But I prioritize taking care of my hair, my natural hair, right? I prioritize making sure that my nails are done. I prioritize doing my makeup every day. And my makeup routine, it takes like 10 minutes. It's really not that much. I prioritize eating healthy. So I do Instacart. I just prioritize those things. And that's because I have made myself a priority in my mind. I prioritize going to counseling. I've been going to counseling now for, I want to say it's been 3 years, 4 years. I think it's been 4 years. Wow. When I first started going, it was like every 2 weeks, but now it's like once a month. Sometimes it's once every other month. Same counselor. She's been with me for a very long time, and she's seen the growth, and she's also Black, and she also runs a business. So I felt like that was aligned. She understands, my struggles in entrepreneurship and quote unquote balance, and like, she's seen the transformation. She's played a huge role in my life. I'm so glad that I found her. But I prioritize these things, and it shows in the way I present myself to the world. And I think that's what the soft life is, because if you're not at peace, girl, it's going to be some chaos going on in the world that you live in. We gotta start prioritizing ourselves, and also to getting out of that hustle culture. Because I am so ambitious, I have been ambitious probably since I was like a teenager. Anything I wanted, I would bust my ass and I would get it. But I felt like in order to be ambitious, I had to be on go, 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 go. Don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep. If you're sleeping, you're not getting stuff done. Like, that's literally the mindset that I had for so many years. And that's very masculine. That is very masculine. That is very survival. And it's crazy because once I took a step back, once I stopped chasing results, that's when everything started coming to me. I can't make this up. And listen, this is coming from a girl who used to be in a survival mindset. If I had listened to this audio 10 years ago, I would have been like, what the hell is this girl talking about? Ain't nobody got time to not be putting in no work to get stuff done, because if I don't put in the work, who gonna do it? Yeah, I would have had that same mindset. But now that I've calmed down, now that I've become at peace, now that I trust the process and I've become detached to the outcomes, things have literally just come to me. You really do attract what you are. And so many people try to chase the result, failing to realize that in order to get the results that you want, you have to become the version of yourself who attracts it. You can't attract success when you're living in chaos. You cannot attract a soft life if you don't put yourself first. It's not going to happen. And we can spend all day talking about what we got to do and what our responsibilities are, but the facts still remain. At some point, you have to prioritize yourself, or you will continue to feel burnt out. You will continue to be stressed. You will continue to not reach your goals. The more people chase, the more it repels from them. You notice that? Like, the more you chase money, the more broke you are. Like, that's literally how it is. That is literally how I used to live my life. I would be working overtime, hour after hour after hour, and still be broke as hell. Like, how does my check have 25 hours of overtime on it and I'm still fucking broke? Like, how is that even possible? Because I was chasing money, chasing. And the more I was chasing, the further it was running. If you want to live a soft life, if you want to be at peace, you got to start putting yourself first. And for me, that's keeping my house clean. And I know damn well I ain't going to be cleaning it because I just ain't cut like that. I don't find nothing therapeutic about cleaning. That shit is annoying and I don't want to do it. And so I'm not. Like I said earlier, if I have to not go out to eat so I can afford some housekeepers, well, then I guess I'm eating at home because I need my housekeepers. I ain't cleaning no bathroom. It just ain't going to happen, right? I'm going to make sure I look good, because when I look good, I feel good. And when I feel good, I do good. But let me know what you ladies think. Leave a comment down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay beautiful, ladies.